Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. My name is Alvita Nurliani, and I am presenting this for syntax project-based learning, and this is part 1 of major sentence constituents. According to Oxford Learners Dictionaries, a sentence is a set of words expressing a statement or a declarative, a question as a interrogative, or an order as an imperative, usually containing a subject and a verb. Every sentence is made up of important parts known as the major sentence constituents, which are the basic building blocks of sentence structure. Major sentence constituents can be either the subject or as a noun phrase or the predicate as the verb phrase. So what are constituents? A constituent is a word or group of words that functions as a single meaningful unit within a sentence. So these constituents can be individual words, phrases, or even clauses, and identifying them helps analyze a sentence structure and how its parts relate to each other. For example, in the sentence of the dog chased the ball, there are 3 constituents in this one sentence. The first constituent is the dog, which is a noun phrase and acts as the subject. The second constituent is the word chased, works as the verb. The third constituent is the ball, which is a noun phrase and acts as the object. And then in this slide, these constituents include of the subject, predicate, object, complement, and also adjunct. And each of them has a different role in helping a sentence to make sense. The first one is the subject, is the person, thing, or idea that the sentence is about. In this sentence, the boy eats an apple. The boy is the subject because it tells us who performs the action. And then the predicate tells us something about the subject, usually describing the action or state of being, and it always contains a verb. And then the third one is object, is the receiver of the action, which appears when the verb is transitive. There are 2 types of object. The first one is direct object that receives the action directly, and also an indirect object, which is an object that is used with a transitive verb to indicate who benefits from an action or gets something as a result. And the fourth one is a complement. Is another part of a sentence that gives an extra information to complete the meaning of the subject or the object. It often follows the linking verbs like be, seem, or become, and it helps to describe or identify something in the sentence. For example, in the sentence of she is smart, uses smart as the complement that describes she. Meanwhile, adjunct adds additional information about the action, such as when, where, how, or why something happens. Adjuncts make sentences more detailed, but they are actually optional and can be removed without affecting the grammatical correctness in a sentence. For instance, in the sentence of he studied in the library yesterday, the phrase in the library yesterday gives extra detail or information about time and place, but can be left out if not needed. A major sentence usually follows the typical English structure of subject, verb, and object, which shows a full and clear idea. A sentence with a transitive verb tends to be called as a major sentence because it expresses a complete thought or idea. And a transitive verb requires an object to complete its meaning because the action it expresses must have a receiver. In the sentence, John eats an apple, the subject is John, performs the action eats, and the object is an apple that receives the action. And in contrast, a sentence with an intransitive verb might not have an object, but it can still be meaningful, even though it may not show the full subject-verb-object structure. For example, John sleeps. The verb sleeps itself does not need or take an object because the meaning is already complete. In using the intransitive verb, this type of clause only contains two major elements, only the subject and also the predicate, to form what is sometimes called a minor clause in certain linguistic classification because it lacks a direct object or also a complement. In summary, major sentence constituents form the foundation of English syntax and showing the relationship between words and how meaning is constructed within a sentence. And all the resources from this material are from these articles. This is part 2 case study in making syntax tree structure. Number 1, the tall boy is reading a novel in the classroom. We can break down the words in this sentence into their word class before classify them into their phrases. Here, the tall boy is the noun phrase because it acts as the subject of this sentence. The word the classifies as the determiner, and then tall classifies as an adjective because it modifies the noun, which is the word boy, and then they combine together as a noun phrase. We move into a verb phrase, contains of auxiliary is, verb reading, determiner a, and noun novel. A novel is actually a noun phrase, and when a noun phrase combines with the verb phrase, they are known as a verb phrase. And then the prepositional phrase in this context showing the place where the subject is doing something. And when a verb phrase meets with this prepositional phrase, they are being together into a verb phrase, and then a sentence always contains of a noun phrase and the verb phrase. And number 2, the teacher teaches English. The teacher here as a noun phrase because it acts as the subject, and then teaches English shows the verb phrase. Number 3, Sarah will visit her grandmother after the final exam. Sarah here is the noun phrase because she is the subject of this sentence. And then the verb phrase contains of the verb phrase adds with the prepositional phrase. Will visit her grandmother in verb phrase. Will is the auxiliary, works as the modal verb, and then visit is the actual verb. Her is determiner, and also grandmother works as a noun. In prepositional phrases, there is preposition after, determiner the, adjective final, and noun exam. Number 4, the man in the black jacket helped the old woman. Here is the man works as the noun phrase. Again, it acts as the subject. In the black jacket is the prepositional phrase to describe the man in specific, and they combine together into a noun phrase. The verb phrase here contains from the noun phrase the old woman and the verb helped. Number 5, they have been studying English for 3 years. They works as the noun phrase, and the verb phrase contains from the verb phrase have been studying English and also the prepositional phrase for 3 years. Number 6, the girl plays the guitar. Here, the subject is the girl, works as the noun phrase, and the verb phrase contains from the noun phrase combines with the verb plays. Number 7, the students read a book in the library. Here, the students is the noun phrase, and then the verb phrase contains from the verb phrase read a book, and then the prepositional phrase in the library. Number 8, the teacher gave homework to the class. The teacher is the subject, and the verb phrase is give homework to the class. Number 9, the dog chased the cat. Here, there are two of noun phrase, the dog and the cat, but the dog works as the subject, while the cat is actually works as the object. The cat here is the noun phrase, adds with the verb chased, and then they combine together into a verb phrase. Number 10, my friend bought a new phone yesterday. My friend here is the subject, and the verb phrase comes from bought a new phone yesterday. And that's all from the material from part 1 and part 2. I'm Alvita Nurliani. Thank you for listening and have a good day.